Meadowlark looked up at the sky, the sun blurred by the newly falling snowflakes. He cleaned his damp pelt, taking the time to straighten his whiskers. Sparrowpelt glared at the young warrior. Looks like you have all the time in the world, he snarled. His whiskers twitched. We just got back from the Sunhigh Patrol. Sparrowpelt grumbled. Bet you had your ears flat the whole time, too, Mouseheart. Do you need something? Meadowlark squinted slightly to see the Tom's pelt against the rays of the setting sun. No. The elder moved on, likely upset from the weather. Meadowlark blinked, sitting still for a moment. What was that about? He eventually stood, choosing to find prey rather than dwell on whatever Sparrowpelt meant. Purpaw hopped in front of the pile, noticeably pushing past the warrior. Do you mind? The old worthy cats are trying to eat. He stepped back with a flinch. Did you even hunt any of this? He murmured under his breath. He picked up his rabbit, scoffing, before patting off. I can't hear ya, he hisses, though muffled. Meadow took a deep breath, grabbing a small mouse from the pile. Mouse-brained apprentice. He scanned over the camp, seeing the cats gathered for patrols. He had already been on the Dawn Patrol and the Sunhigh Patrol, so he was taking his leave. With a full belly, and nothing else to do, he slid into the nest nearby and tucked his nose under his tail.
Mouseheart, was it? I've met mice with more courage than you.
His head shot up as he heard an unfamiliar voice. He then realized nothing was familiar. It was dark and cold.
Somehow, I think every mouse I've ever ate has amounted to more than you ever will. You're weak. Pathetic.
He was too confused for the cat's cold words to hurt. He wasn't even sure this was real.
The mere sight of you is more than enough to know just how worthless you really are. But he glimpsed into the distance for a brief moment. We can change that.
We? He finally spoke. His voice faded into the distance in an unpleasant way. It was like the mere silence drowned him out. Who are you? Where are we?
The better question is, who are you? I think if I pin you to the ground and held my claws to your throat, you couldn't tell me a single thing, let alone with any confidence. I'm here to change that, to show you your potential and help you seize it.
But I'm not... He looked down slightly, his eyes darting back and forth in his head while he thought. She shuffled her way to the Tom's nest. She gruffed, pouncing on the Tom with her weight to wake him. Meadowlark woke with a flinch. Hackles rose in defense. Wiswillow? You're loud when asleep. Be quiet, she said with a monotone voice. His whiskers twitched. Was he mewling in his sleep? Sorry. She nodded with a small hum. He stretched where he sat, arcing his shoulders and drawing his maw back in a yawn. He then gave a nod to Wiswillow to dismiss himself as he patted away. He looked out across the empty, frozen moor. The strange Tom's voice rang in his head, despite the silence. Hunting would do him good. He grimaced. Of course, the one mouse he could smell had tucked away in its den. He stifled. Was this a result of Leafbear, or was that weird Tom right? Was he just bad at being a warrior? He cleared the thought from his head and kept looking. He let out a purr as his teeth sank into the thrush. At least it wasn't completely useless. His tail flicked when he spotted Bearpaw leaving the apprentice den. He sat in the clearing, sitting down. He noticed the same warrior from last time. In the prey pile, again. I caught a thrush, if you want it. His confidence dwindled as he realized how foolish he sounded. Bearpaw blinked, brows arced. You caught that? The top stirs for a moment. He stood, suspicious. No. Did you scrape that from the Thunderpath? What's up with him? She whispered, squinting. He blinked. What? He shook his head. Okay, jeez. That scrawny thrush he caught? He turns to Flickpaw. He thinks that's good to share? He sighed as the two began to gossip right in front of him. Ha! She snorted, a bit too loudly. He let out a huff, padding onward to wait for dawn patrols. Grovesnot went to get a bite to eat, glancing at Meadowlark's finch. Ew, who caught this? Every available cat gather on the High Rock for dawn patrols, her voice boomed. She knew the cats were tired, but clan life moves on regardless. He sighed as the snow began to batter his pelt. He padded forward. Badger Mask shook himself from the brief freeze of Hail Hiss, eyes trailing over to Meadowlark. Grovelsnout, you can lead the border patrol this time. You can take Maelstrom, Sundancer, and Meadowlark. He addressed the cats. Grovelsnout yawned. It enjoyed leading the patrol yesterday, but it was so tired. It really hoped that it didn't have to... Oh, alright. That Meadowdun guy brought a pitiful thrush, he sneers. Smaller than a newborn kit. His tail tip tapped against the ground in agitation as he waited to leave. Meadowlark struggled to see the border through the snow. He sniffed, head still stuck in the weird dark place he visited. He followed Grovelsnout, still so distracted. It squinted. Any rogues? It didn't see anything, so I'd assumed it was fine. Maelstrom's eyes trailed over the structures in the distance. He sneered at it like it was a living, breathing enemy. I think this is as far as we should go this way. I almost didn't think about where I was walking. Yeah, the snow is making it hard for them to smell anything. My paws are cold. It blinked. Okay, yeah, the snow is way too much for this. We should go back. He sniffed the air. Nothing. Every attempt was futile. The border on this side seemed fine last time I was here. We're going home. Thank you, he sniffled. Phew, hi guys. We just did the border patrol. Nothing of note. Oh, good. That's something. I'm gonna go back to my nest. I'm gonna sleep for the next moon. Loud meow as she's covered in a pretty thick amount of snow. She's been on guard all day and last night. He gave a respectful nod to the deaf she, trying to figure out where to be now that the patrol was done with. He swallowed, his throat sore from the cold as he padded up to the nests. Gravel Snout was snoring. The sun was soon to set, and seeing how early he woke, he figured it was fine for him to try and sleep. He stirred again. His warm nest was no longer beneath him. Oh, this again. He swallowed his anxiety long enough to ask, "Okay, where am I? Why do I keep waking up here?"
Look up. What do you see? Or more so, what don't you see?
"Nothing," he croaked. "Just you and me."
There are no stars here, which means no cats above, no cats below. Just darkness. Eternal darkness. The place of no stars.
"Why?" he croaked again.
Why? Such an annoying question. Why this? Why that? You could ask why in circles and you'd still get no closer to the truth.
"Not why this. Why am I here? Me. Meadowlark. Why did I wake up here?"
The fact you don't know why is exactly the problem. You're weak. So weak you don't even see your full potential. It's simple, really. You are far greater than any of your clanmates could imagine. It's why they insult you so much. Deep down, they're scared. You're weak, but you can be stronger.
"How?" His question seemed one of self-doubt rather than guidance. "What could you do that would help?"
Let me teach you. He hunched down into his stance, clearly preparing to spar.
Meadow's eyes lit up as he realized what the Tom was trying to do, but he froze, worried he was wrong.
Sensing fear and confusion from Meadowlark, he pounced, pinning him.
He let out a squeak, rolling so his shoulder was beneath him and his limbs were still useful. He sprawled his legs out and kicked at the Tom's paws, trying to unbalance him.
He countered by squaring his weight and placing a paw firm against Meadowlark's shoulder, applying uncomfortable pressure on the joint.
He let out a growl, feeling weak. He bent his neck in an uncomfortable way, just to be able to nip at the Grey Tom's leg, sinking his teeth into it.
He lifted his paw and shook it around to loosen Meadowlark's grip. The moment Meadow's teeth let go, he pounced down hard on Meadow's ribs.
Meadow woke up with a painful gasp. He looked at his side. He was fine, but the wind was knocked out of him. He felt like he couldn't breathe. Taking the time to relax, he was eventually able to take deep breaths again. He slowly put his head back down, hoping this time he'd be able to rest. Meadow woke to an odd warmth on his pelt. He blinked the sleep away from his eyes, realizing why it had been so warm. It was the middle of the day! Hunting. He had to go hunt. He missed the patrols. He quickly made his way out of camp. He squinted his eyes. Was that the place of No Star's cat?
Hunt at the Outlook Rock, he spoke ominously.
The Outlook Rock? Why? He looked back. And of course, the cat was gone. Great. He padded up to the Outlook Rock, and before he even paused, he could already smell fresh kill. A rabbit. And a large one, too. It wasn't scrawny like the others. But it reeked of the dark forest. He wasn't sure if he accepted this gift, but the clan would. He placed down the large rabbit, purring. Whoa! Yeah, I guess so. I glanced at Meadowlark. Gee, what was that thing eating? Oh, a rabbit? An actually decent one? That's massive! Nice work! Whoa, he murmured under his breath. Where'd you find that? His rose furrow, chuckling. By the Outlook Rock. I guess it was eating the dead grass in the den. I turned around again and kept idly messing with the dirt. Man, the last rabbit I caught was a pathetic little thing. Looked more like a bug. That's good, though. It's hope. Hale's eyes burned into Meadow's back for a moment. I felt like his accomplishment was completely overshadowed by Meadowlark's. Yes, he nodded, embarrassed. He patted away from the pile. He sat and groomed his fur, satisfied with the clan's response. Sure, he didn't catch that rabbit, but did it really hurt them if they didn't know? He slipped down into a loaf, closing his eyes for a bit to enjoy what was left of the sun. He found himself nearly falling asleep where he sat. The dark forest stuff was keeping him from sleeping well. He yawned and slunk back over to his nest. By the time Meadow woke again, they were even more worn out than before. Once again, he had found himself in the place of no stars, fighting even more ferociously than before. So much so, he'd sustained a wound on his side where he'd failed to evade a swipe from Boulder Strike. Oh, yeah, he told him his name, too. Vanilla Bean wakes from her slumber, facing the Fiona with a tired gaze. How in the holy Star Clan did you get hurt in your sleep? His ears perked. He turned and winced, realizing the gash on his side. There must have been a thorn or something. Yikes. With how big that scratch is, I doubt it. Check with the medicine cats, or don't. I don't really care. He let out a sigh. How was he to explain this? He'd be fine. He patted down and began to clean his own wound in the clearing. Hey, Meadowlark! Grumblesnout skidded to a halt. Yeah? With his wound now clean, he was able to sit up straight. It paused. Me and, Vanilla Bean were thinking of things to do, and we were talking about going out and doing a bit of sparring. Would you be interested in tagging along? Me? His ears perked. He then continued, trying to feign newfound confidence. Of course. Battle training keeps the warrior strong. Yeah, Grumblesnout nodded. I like the energy. Let's do it. Follow me. I've got just the place for it. Lovely. He looked at the open clearing. A good spot, actually. Right here. It's clear enough. Maybe it'll scare the rogues off. I chuckled at the thought. Alright. You ready, Vanilla Bean? Ready as I'll ever be. She faced the Fiona with her tail lashing, getting into her fighting stance. It crouched, moving to the side and trying to sprint at her torso. She unsheathed her claws, swiftly turning onto her back, then using her hind legs to kick the feline. Ugh, hey! It said as it stumbled off Vanilla Bean, falling over. Oh, come on! You think I would go easy? She mewed, moving back before leaping onto the cat, her claws deep within the feline's shoulder blades. No, okay, no claws, no claws! It kicked Vanilla Bean and pushed her over, putting her down with brute force, grinning. Oh, come on. Can't handle little claws? She joked, already knowing she'd lost this battle as she sheathed her claws. He stood, patting over. Garvesnut laughed, as if. It said as it stepped off of her. So I fight the winner? He snorted. She rolled her eyes playfully. Yep. Well, I guess that makes sense. Come on, then, he purred, backing up in preparation. Alright, let's do this. Meadow darted forward, darting to the side and nailing its front paws into Grumblesnout's left shoulder blade. Grumblesnout winced, ducking down and trying to roll Meadowlark over it. He didn't expect the roll, so he clumsily stepped over Gravelsnout as his paws followed its turning shoulder. Gravelsnout whipped around, leaping on top of Meadowlark and pushing them to the floor.
Don't let it pin you. Kick up some snow into its eyes, you mudbrain.
Meadowlark looked up in confusion, feeling no other option but to listen. He slipped his paw out from his collapsed frame and swept it over the ground, flicking the newly laid snow into Gravelsnout's face. Gravelsnout yelped, trying to wipe its face, loosening its grip on Meadowlark.
Perfect. It's distracted. Go for the belly. Now!
He took the opportunity to roll under Gravelsnout's weight, roughly shoving his back legs into the feline's lower belly with unsheathed claws. Ah! Gravelsnout fell into its back, reeling from the hit. He turned on his rear paws and hopped over, standing over Gravelsnout with his paws on both sides of its neck.
Now roll it over and stomp on its neck. Don't stop until you feel a crunch.
Meadowlark's posture instantly unstiffened as he looked up at Boulderstrike. What? Ah! This cat had tossed it around too rough. It didn't feel playful like Vanilla Bean. Feeling threatened and not thinking, it kicked Meadowlark off and ripped its claws into its arm. He stumbled, wincing when he landed on his paws, and he felt the pain ripple through his leg muscle. It heaved a deep breath, silent. Its mind was racing. It looked back at Vanilla Bean, walking towards her, shaky. We should go, she mumbled. Before it left, it glanced at Meadowlark, its eyes held disdain and concern.
He hopped down weightlessly, staring cold at the Tom. Don't you see? This is what happens when you don't listen to me. You get hurt, and worse, you make a fool of yourself. You make a fool of me.
I don't want to hurt anyone, he piped. I'm supposed to fight for them, not against them.
How else will they know what you're capable of? Do you want them to continue thinking you're weak? That you're someone to be pushed around? You need to show them they're wrong.
He took in a shaky breath before he realized he wasn't in the place of no stars. He was home. Flashing a hateful look at Boulderstrike, he turned and ran towards camp. He sat and began to chew at the bird, disgruntled. The clan was empty since patrols had been sent to prepare for dusk, but the remaining cats seemed tense. Finishing the bird, he hopped up to his nest. He gave a look to Gravelsnout, curious if it had anything to say, but there was only silence. He lay down. He blinked open dull eyes as he was once again met with darkness. You know I don't want to be here, he grumbled.
Fine then. Take your leave.
What? He lifted his head. He was surprised Boulderstrike would just let him go.
You don't deserve my time. My training. You're useless.
But no, you said I was strong, he pleaded.
Strong, yes. But weak-minded. You failed to listen to me. So let me remind you of your place. He'd pad over to Meadowlark and place a paw on the back of his head, pinning him to the ground. He'd lower his maw down to Meadowlark's ear. Every breath you take is proof of my mercy. Proof of my pity. Never forget that.
He wiggled a bit. I'm sorry. I got scared. The other cats are finally looking at me like I'm one of them. I need you.
Fine then. He let go and back up. Show me you're worth it.
How?
I'll come to you after dawn. Just wait.
You'll come to me? He began to ask, but he found himself in his nest. Bedroom Mask woke up, disgruntled. Huh? Sun stirred lightly with her nest, hearing the words spoken. Bad dream, sorry. He brushed it off. He stares, a grunt. Meadowlark seemed to be having bad dreams all the time. He sat up, trying to figure out what Boulder Strike meant. He caught a flash of gray in his gaze.
Go to the gorge, he said once more in that ominous tone.
He nodded, scarily compliant. He looked above the tall grass, seeing Swanstar up on the ledge.
Kill him.
What? He froze.
Do you have moss in your ears, or was I not clear?
I can't! That's our leader!
Oh, you don't know. That cat right there. She exiled a pregnant queen. A disgrace to the warrior code, that one is.
A pregnant queen? This was the first he'd heard of this.
Yes, yes. Have you not heard the tale of Frang, Willow? I thought not. She died shortly after, along with her kits. A shame, really.
Shame welled in his throat. Had his clan been hiding this horrid secret all this time? I had no idea. That's horrible.
Now that you see how much of a pathetic excuse of a leader this cat is, kill him, and your clan will thank you. Nay, revere you.
He took a deep breath. For once, he had to listen to Boulder Strike. He had to prove himself, both for him and the sake of his clan. He ran forward. He jumped and nailed his paws between Swanstar's shoulder blades, causing her legs to buckle. What are you doing? She pressed her paws against them with panic in her eyes. He held up an unsheathed paw, tensing his muscles in preparation to slash her throat. But he froze. The fear in Swanstar's eyes paralyzed him. I'm so sorry. He stepped off. The sun's harsh brilliance filled her gaze. Seeking Meadowlark and Swanstar up ahead, she padded up. She knew what had to be done. She pulled in, claws unsheathing. Without hesitation, the she-cat rushed forth and repinned the leader. She hissed in pain. Adrenaline filling her veins, the cat looked up in expectance. Go, kill her! What are you doing? Meadowlark shrieked, trying to shove Hailspark off. Hale's brows furrowed in confusion and anger. She refused to falter, but stumbled at the cat's insistence. Ugh. She panicked. Everything was moving so fast. She moved away. That's what Boulder Strike told you to do, right? Do it now! She insisted. Excitement lit up in eyes. Anticipation. With Swanstar gone, he can lead WindClan. Do it now! Hailspark, what are you doing? I said sorry. We made amends. You don't have to do this. His gaze narrowed at Swanstar. He came here anticipating to do it himself, but this would do. It's too late, Swanstar. A change is in order, he spat. Boulder Strike. We? His voice cracked. This was a setup. You just want to be leader, he piped. Was any of this even true? Fury rippled under his spell. He was used! No! He pushed through the anger, padding forward and staring hateful eyes at Hailspark. This was you! You have everything to gain from this, and I have everything to lose! I was never meant to be a part of this! Hailspark rolled his eyes and scoffed, anger making him grit his teeth. You should have finished the job, Meadowlark. This is for WindClan. You're just another cog in that plan. He let out a snarl, lifting a paw and using his whole body to force Hailspark away from the gorge's edge, and further away from Swanstar. This ends here. She stumbled back, indignation growing. No, I won't let you stop me. I won't let you get in the way of Boulder Strike's plan to get a better WindClan. We could have been great, Meadowlark, she spat. You could have been deputy. I don't want that, he squeaked. I never wanted anything more than just to be the same as any other cat. I asked for too much. You can still fix this. Hailspark tilted her chin scornfully. Your will is weak. Since you failed, I will succeed where you faltered. I will be the one to kill Swanstar. She lunged at Meadowlark, clattering together. He froze for a moment, considering his options. There was only one. He He reached his claws up, sinking them into Hailspark's ribs from below. He rolled over and harshly slammed her into the stone ground. She gagged. He stepped over her, holding her down by the shoulder. They looked back at Spawnstar, almost in an apology. She froze, watching the cat fall instant. It sent a shiver down her spine. Or looking for permission? Hailspark breathed weakly under the cat's paw, but blood pooling beneath was too much. Her eyes dulled as her mind rang Goldenleaf's words. Action spoke louder than words, and she stared at Hailspark and gave a nod to him. He reared up and slammed his paws down on Hailspark's neck until he heard a crunch. He winced and concealed a gag. He instantly stepped off, nearly slipping over the gorge's edge to try and get away from what he'd done. She let out a sigh, turning to the sun for a moment, then to Meadowlark. I'm sorry for what you had to do. I thank you for not sending me to the stars too soon. He nodded, shaking. Even though he had rejected Boulderstrike's manipulation, an innocent cat had died because of it. It was hard to feel any sort of relief. I promised to be better as the leader, to fix all of this, not let another fall. Not again. This isn't your fault! He wanted to yell and scream, but Spawnstar still didn't know about Boulderstrike, and it might be better that way. I hope Goldenleaf won't be too mad, or we could just blame another... I won't tell another. You were forced to move your claws. I get that too well. He nodded again. I'm sorry for not helping. I was not in the right mindset, but this truly did open my mind. Why are you laughing? Meadowlark shrugged, looking at Hailspark. I just want my nest. Ah, right, sorry, grief makes you do crazy things, so... You head back and rest. I'll handle a proper burial. After all, cats truly did care for them. He nodded one last time, patting away sluggishly. His bed felt so soft. He sank into it with a sigh. For once in moons, may he actually get some sleep.
Now roll it over and stomp on its neck. Dang it!
Don't stop!
Don't stop.
Don't stomp.
Don't stop.